Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today I want to talk about feminist criticism and historical criticism. According Wolf definition, feminist criticism is a theory express the personal and self-worth of all women. On understanding this, a woman will believe in herself, same self. According Nicholas Abercrombie, that feminism is an understanding define equal opportunity for men and women. Women are systematically weakened in modern society. Feminism is a social movement that has gradually improved the position a woman in Western society. And the history of feminist criticism. The history of feminist criticism can be tracked back factor of the birth with the different purposes and the background. The birth of the feminist movement cannot be separated from the level of the education, consequences, social class, social culture, and so on. Movement is a born. Feminism begins with the assumption that women are basically oppressed and exploited. Not only that, this movement arises because in a patriarchal society system, enlightenment dominate in the various aspect and the extension of the subordination of the treatment, such as the treatment. This is what causes women to gather and make action to give birth to the feminism movement. Feminism globally is divided into three stages, namely the first, from the 18th century to the pre-1960. The second, we have the feminists after the 1960, and the third, we have feminism, or what is called post-feminism. The movement of feminism is the first. We have begun with Mary Wollstonecraft's work and vindication right of women, which is the first work to public shout of the middle class woman, especially mothers, as the most influential class in society. And the second, through the emphasis the need to make women think rationally, so that women reasoning becomes more the education. It does not consider to lose of the role a woman from the domestic sphere, and it must radical demand is the suffrage. He wants women to prepare themselves to economically independent, to give freedom and dignity, and instead of relying on the ability to lure and establish husband. The next stage in the debate of women's rights right, takes place in the 1860 century, namely when there was a, was a polemic between John Ruskin in the 60s and John Stuart Mill 70 regarding the debate. Kate Mill comment in her analysis entitled Sexual Politics. Mill discussed the realism of sexual politics, while Ruskin is about the aspect of romance is the positive methodological side. In the fact to the two discussion. A question about women with the equally particular and bizarre approach. The opposites, however, emphasize the great themes of the so-called Victorian. The Victorians talk about the right of women in the way heyday of Victoria, as well as the basic character of the main representative figure. If we want to criticize of analysis and literary work using feminism theory, we must be able to choose which name best fits the text. That means that we must know in advance who is the author, where does it come from, what is the most dominant topic, the text, and other important issue. And feminist literary criticism developed from a variety of such perspectives, such as history, culture, biology, background, and others. We need to write this material. However, to analyze a certain literary work, we also need a certain approach. For example, a novel is different from poetry. According to Abrams, in the 1981, there are several approaches that can be applied to analyzing literary works: mimetic, pragmatic, expressive, and objective approach. This means that simple understanding feminist literary criticism is not sufficient to properly analysis or criticism and a literary work. Some research article example using the approach. The first, we can see in the slide. Nicholas Spark. The objective of the research were to identify, analyze, and describe the feminism, as well to analyze how women fought the struggle with women power in the base of maybe Nicholas Spark, the orator based of the research of the theory. According Betty Friedan, 1963, to Friedan, there are 5 concepts of the feminism that consist of the suburban woman, the American woman, the educated woman, and the happy woman, and the new woman. In the And the conducting this study, the writer used the intrinsic and extrinsic approach his and the qualitative analysis in the which the process consists of the describing, analyzing, and the interpreting process. The second example, feminism in the novel Jane Eyre by Carlotta. Objective is to find out what ideas are opposed by feminism depicted in the novel Jane Eyre, written by Charlotte and Bronte. The object of the research is the main character in the novel Jane Eyre as the focus of the study or limit of the research in analyzing the object of the study. In the research implies the liberal feminism theory pursued by Elizabeth M. Jagger. The theory applied the woman is will, man has natural rights. In the fact there are inequality that women face. There are men domination, inequality of the education, in occupation, and the ownership right. The research attempts to give evidence about Jane Eyre. So far, to be an independent woman based of the theory of Jane Eyre in the novel, the result power that Jane Eyre is a representation in the liberal feminism. Historical criticism. What is the historical criticism? Historical criticism, or Hacker criticism, is a branch of literary analysis that investigates the origin of a text as applied in the biblical studies in natural investigate foremost the books of the Bible. In the classical studies, the new Hacker criticism of the 19th century set aside efforts to fill Asian religion with the direct meaning and the relevance, and the footed itself is fit to the critical collection and the chronological ordering of the source material. Thus, Hacker criticism, whether biblical, classical, Byzantine, or the medieval, focuses of the search of the document to determine who wrote to write it, the when it's written, and the where. Literary criticism in the light of historical evidence or based on the context in which a work was written, including thoughts about the time. This contrasts to other types of criticism such as the textual or informal, in which emphasizes is a place and examining the discredited and new historism is a particular from the of historical criticism. And the next, historical criticism also known is about historical critical method. The Hegel criticism is a branch of criticism that investigates the origin of the ancient text in order to understand the work behind to the text. A while often discussion in the term of the Jews than and Christian writings. From ancient times, historical criticism has also been applied to the other religions and secular writings from the various parts of the world and the periods of the history. What the kind of the topic which can be studied using the approach and using the approach, the critical thinking is the reasonable reflective thinking that is focused on deciding what to believe or do. Ennis in the 1985 and 1996 besides that we also understanding the critical thinking basically means plural is it does forgive consideration in interpretation analysis evaluation demand the detailed explanation conceptual theoretical and methodological critical or the conclusion and consideration depending on where to consideration or based because critical thinking also include almost the all types of logical thinking. This is combination with maintaining that disposition which the constantly produces deep and useful understanding is the basis of the rational and democratic society. And the example about historical criticism we can see